Harvard economist left at Bitcoin, and now Harvard owns $116 million. So the story starts in 2018. I have here an article. Harvard pivots from crypto skeptic to stakeholder as Ivy League major quietly amasses 116 million in Bitcoin ETF. And of course, Harvard, the economist who said this back in 2018, he was a Harvard University economist, and he predicted in 2018 that Bitcoin would more likely hit only $100 than $100,000 in the coming decade. Now, here is the statement from the economist. His name is Kenneth Rogoff. So in March 5th, 2018, he said on video, the likelihood of Bitcoin prices falling to 100 is greater than that of the digital currency trading at 100,000 a decade from now. Harvard University professor and economist Kenneth Rogoff said on Tuesday, I think Bitcoin will be worth a tiny fraction of what it is now if we are headed out 10 years from now. I would see $100 as being a lot more likely than 100,000 10 years from now. He said this on SNBC. And of course, if we check Kenneth Rogoff, he's a professor at Harvard University, former chief economist at the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Now, of course, if you work as an economist at the International Monetary Fund, that means you are a Keynesian economist. In other words, you are a bullshit economist, and you believe in bullshit and you promote bullshit. And of course, your predictions are going to be wrong 100%. Now, back in 2018, the Bitcoin price in 2018, as you can see here, start of the year was $13,000. The highest price was $70,000 on January 6th. The lowest price was $3,000, and the end of the year price was $3,700. So you've got this expert who claimed, I mean, he's not the only expert, but this expert economist, this expert Keynesian economist, who believes that inflation is good, and we need at least 2% inflation a year. He predicts that Bitcoin is going to go to $100 rather than $100,000 in 10 years. And of course, his prediction is wrong, because how can you be correct on Bitcoin when you believe this inflation is good? You can't. It's just impossible. The whole thing about Bitcoin is that it's anti-inflation. It has a fixed supply, unlike any other asset in history. And if you understand this, and if you understand this basic fact that scarcity is the ultimate, anything that is scarce will definitely be the ultimate store of value, then you cannot go wrong when it comes to price prediction. That's why I am 1,000% sure that Bitcoin will keep going up forever, because the supply is incorruptible. You cannot create more Bitcoin. It's absolutely impossible. And you've got all these experts, from so-called trader and economist Gary V, bullshit economics, Harvard University economists, and all these, there are a lot of experts, a lot of economists who talk bullshit, who have been talking bullshit about Bitcoin for many years now. Not just economists, but Larry Fink was skeptical of Bitcoin, Jamie Dimon was skeptical of Bitcoin. Pretty much all the financial experts and the financial big names were completely wrong on Bitcoin. Peter Schiff is still wrong on Bitcoin. He still doesn't want to, change his mind. So if this means anything, it means that if you want to understand something, do not just turn off your head and believe whatever the experts say. You have to come to your conclusions from first principles. You have to think from first principles. Why Bitcoin is going to keep going up? Because it has a limited supply. Because if you read up onto Bitcoin, if you understand how Bitcoin is mined, and if you understand how difficult it is to mine or to even hack the Bitcoin network, then you would understand that it's completely unstoppable. And then you would understand that people are going to catch up in the future. They are going to realize this Bitcoin will keep going up, and they are going to put their money into it, and they are going to use it as the ultimate store of value that it is. So, point of the moral of the story is that do not trust the experts, do not trust economists, especially if they've worked in the IMF, especially if they appear on CNN or CNBC or any of these mainstream financial networks, do your homework, study Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, because it's not going to get cheaper anytime soon, and it's not going back to the prices of 2018. Bitcoin is never going to be $3,000 again. It's never going to be $18 again. It might crash, but it's not going to crash. It's not going to have that big of a crash. So yeah, Bitcoin is sound money. Buy Bitcoin, study Bitcoin, subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next one. Take care.